Hi, Brian. Thanks very much for being with us today. It's a real pleasure to have you on.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Edmund.
Uh, One of the reasons I wanted to get you on is, well, obviously you've got great insight into the industry, but also specifically with this series where we're trying to dig into agent portal relations. You are neither an agent nor are you a portal employee. Could you tell us a bit about what it is you do, a bit about your background, and a bit about 1000 Watt?
Sure. 1000 Watt is a creative and strategy agency. And we're focused just on real estate here in the States mostly. And we work with lots of different companies within the industry, real estate brands, real estate brokerages, prop tech firms, mortgage companies, but it's all focused on real estate. And you're quite right. I've never sold real estate myself. I've never worked for a portal. So we have sort of an independent view on things here, at least in the States.
Okay. And what is it you did before that? Am I right in thinking you were in the industry, kind of the industry press before that?
Yeah, I've been around this business, real estate media and marketing for about almost 25 years. I started out at Inman, which here in the States is sort of the leading trade publication, trade media company for real estate. I was president of Inman for a number of years, and that's really where I started in this business. So I got a very broad perspective on the business from that experience right off the bat.
Okay, so the perfect person to tell maybe our international viewers a bit about what it is that makes the US real estate ecosystem maybe a bit different to other countries.
Well, the way we do real estate here, for better or for worse, is distinctive in the world in the sense that we have a multiple listing service, which is a platform where real estate professionals who compete also cooperate together to sell homes. And buyers are represented by an agent, sellers are represented by an agent. An agent gets a listing from a seller, they put it on the multiple listing service. A buyer's agent brings a buyer, and the listing agent shares that commission with the buyer's agent. And it's all done via the MLS, which has been our system for decades and makes us a little bit different, not only in terms of how homes get sold, but also vis-a-vis portals. And the relationship that the real estate industry has with those portals, it's definitely different here.
Okay, so let's say I am a real estate agent in the United States and I would like my listings to appear on Zillow. How does that happen? Do I pay a flat fee? Do I pay at all? How does it work?
You don't pay, no. It's not fee to list. And the key distinction here in the States is that whereas in most of the rest of the world, listings are viewed as advertising. You pay to put your listing on a site, whatever it is, Rightmove, realestate.com.au. You pay to put your listing there to advertise it. Listings here in the States are viewed more as content. And not only do agents and brokers not pay to have their listings on these portals, Realtor.com and Zillow, most significant among them, those portals sometimes even pay real estate brokerages or multiple listing services for that content, for the listings. So it can be quite the reverse of what the rest of the world does. So listings are not viewed just as advertising here, they're viewed as content, which is a different way of approaching it that causes a unique set of tensions between the real estate industry and portals here.
Okay, you've just led me on to the next question perfectly. What are those tensions? What are the relationships like between the property portals and agents?
Well, if you're an agent here who works for the seller and gets a listing, and you put that listing on the multiple listing service, you are gaining effectively all the distribution you need to sell that house. That is your advertising, because you're taking that listing, putting it on the multiple listing service, and that is reaching all of the active buyer's agents and all of the active buyers in a given market. So you have your distribution there that you would in other places in the world have to pay for to get advertising distribution. So the portal is not really needed to sell the house, is what is I think, the crucial difference here. People certainly, millions and millions of people are on Zillow every single day, and they're looking at homes and they're connecting with real estate professionals. But the portal advertising is not actually used to sell the house, if that makes sense, because all of that distribution takes place within the multiple listing service. So that makes, whereas I understand in many places in the world, there's a lot of resentment because advertising rates are so high for portals. Well, you're charging me too much, and there's near monopoly in some markets with property portals, and it's just costing me so much to advertise. Here, you don't pay anything, but you resent the portal because the portal is basically, in the view of some in the industry, not actually contributing to selling your house, but is nonetheless stepping in front of you to connect with your consumer without you being the primary point of contact.
Okay, so there is tension there, despite the fact that there's not a flat fee being levied at all these agents. Regular readers of online marketplaces will know we write a lot about Zillow because Zillow is, to use pretty much our catchphrase at this point, trying to get into the transaction, right?
Yeah.
How is this seen among agents? So one example, which was kind of controversial, I believe, was the acquisition of Showing Time, which is, if I'm not wrong, a platform where basically people can schedule an appointment to view a house. Now, maybe from my point of view or from somebody else's point of view, this seems innocent enough. Judging by some of the vitriolic comments we saw, or I saw, that's not the case. Can you give us a bit of background around that?
Sure. So Zillow is indeed is moving from being a media company where they gather this content, the listings, and then build an audience around that and sell advertising or sell leads to that audience, to being more of a transactional company. Zillow is buying homes. Those homes go on their balance sheet, and then they sell those homes. And Zillow is now a registered real estate broker in all 50 states here. And they have licensed real estate professionals who are listing and selling the homes that they own. So Zillow has gone from being a media company, still is a media company, but has also entered the transaction business. And as part of that, they have bought this company, that Showing Time, that real estate agents who are representing buyers use to schedule showings to look at homes for sale. So I think, Edmund, it's probably innocent enough, but it is causing a bit of paranoia and angst among the industry here, because it is Zillow sort of reaching deeper into the transaction than they had previously done. Zillow had and has a media business where they're selling leads or referrals to real estate agents that is about $1.5 billion in revenue. They built a very big business, but that's sort of capping out, and that has sort of prompted their move into the transaction itself.
Okay, you touched on it a little bit there. You said the word paranoia. Now, I was listening to an interview that you did with Online Marketplace's very own Simon Baker about a year ago at the start of the pandemic, where you mentioned some numbers which seemed absolutely crazy to me, and I think maybe can explain some of the paranoia. So there's 328 more or less million people in America. Just how many of them are realtors, and how many of these realtors might be feeling a little bit squeezed at the moment, given the inventory situation that is currently happening in the States?
Yeah, we have this weird situation here in the States where it seems like every third person on your block is a real estate agent. There are 1.5 million approximately realtors in America.
Are they all licensed? Do they have to pass an exam, or is it you can just name yourself a realtor and that's it?
No. So there's an important, maybe not so important, but a distinction. There are 1.5 million realtors, which means you're a member of the National Association of Realtors. There's an additional 500,000 or so licensees, meaning we're licensed by the state or the government here to practice real estate. So there are effectively 2 million people who are licensed to sell real estate here in the States. There are about 1 million homes for sale right now. So there are more people selling real estate in the entire United States than there are homes for sale in the entire United States. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to determine that that is a situation where you have too many people competing for too few listings, and we have a situation of scarcity. So in that situation where you don't have enough homes to sell and you have too many people who want to sell them, a company like Zillow buying and selling homes really freaks people out, justifiably or not, right? Because gosh, there's already not enough business to go around. And now you have a huge company like Zillow that's a household name here in the States. Everybody here knows Zillow. They have almost 100% brand awareness. When they start buying and selling homes, the industry gets a little bit worked up about that.
Yeah, I can see why. So we've been talking about Zillow. It's such a huge brand, as you said. I mean, it was even on, I mean, it's kind of entered the zeitgeist now. It was on Saturday Night Live, which I think was a big turning point culturally. There are obviously other property portals out there. You mentioned realtor.com, and obviously there's a new, I say new, but a new for residential player in CoStar. How are people feeling about these two? Is it a similar kind of fear towards these two, or are they playing a different game?
Well, yes, CoStar is a company that has been around in commercial real estate. They've sold, basically operating as a property portal for commercial real estate here in the US in sort of the way that property portals work all over the world. Meaning, if I'm a commercial real estate broker and I have an office building to sell, I will pay CoStar to list my property on their portal, which is called LoopNet, and I'll pay them for various other services and data. So it's sort of a traditional model in commercial real estate. CoStar, and they're a multi-billion-dollar company. CoStar has bought two companies here in the States, a company called HomeSnap, which provides business-to-business software and productivity tools for real estate agents, and also a sort of second-tier portal, Homes.com, that it doesn't have nearly the audience that Zillow and Realtor.com has, but nonetheless is a public consumer real estate portal here in the States. And their ambition is to provide an alternative to Zillow and Realtor.com, where they're not selling leads off agents' listings. Meaning, if Edmund, you have a property that you want to sell, whatever interest or leads come off of that property go to you, not some other buyer's agent. So we don't really know what their business model is going to be specifically yet, but what they're saying so far suggests that they're trying to bring the model that the rest of the world has to the States in order to compete with Zillow and Realtor.com. And we'll see. It's still an unfolding story.
Okay. One question I asked Sadhna from Australia last week, which I kind of thought was interesting. Do realtors in the United States pay attention to what is happening in other markets? Now, obviously, what's happening with Rightmove in the UK or realestate.com.au in Australia may not be super relevant for your average realtor in Colorado, let's say, but there are increasingly, I think, some similarities in what's happening. Do people in the industry pay attention to what's happening abroad, or is it quite an insular thing?
I smile because, this is America. We're a little bit parochial.
It's a naive question.
Yeah. So no, there's no. The industry here does not pay attention to what's going on vis-a-vis portals in the rest of the world. You would think that there would be something to learn, right? In what's going on with On the Market in the UK and all of these portals that are popping up. But no, we're very much inward looking.
Fair enough. I kind of suspected that might be the answer, but it's interesting nonetheless. Okay. I guess last question for me, and it's a deliberately difficult and open-ended question. How do you see things changing in the next 12 to 18 months, specifically talking about, as you said, there's not enough real estate to be sold at the moment, and thinking about where Zillow might go, what might happen to its customers, and also CoStar, as you mentioned, this new entrant in the scene.
Mm-hmm. I think that you are going to see property portals here, mostly Zillow. Zillow is, Realtor.com actually is gaining in traffic, but still is a fairly distant second place to Zillow. So really, I speak of Zillow here. Zillow, I believe, is going to continue to push more deep into this business of iBuying, which your audience is probably or may have heard about, which is a portal buying and selling homes, right? So Zillow management has made it quite clear that they view that as what we would call here in the States a moonshot, right? They're taking the company in this completely ambitious and different direction where they get into the business of buying and selling homes and make the process of selling home in particular a great deal different and in their view much easier and more streamlined. So I think you're going to see a continued move for portals to get deeper into the transaction. And then you're going to see others react to that, like CoStar, who are trying to be more industry friendly. More broadly, in terms of the market, our situation here with inventory doesn't show any signs of getting any better soon. So I like to say that right now in the States, we're sort of within the industry living in an environment of scarcity. It's like we're all living on an island and there's not enough food to go around. So in that situation, everybody gets hungry and scared and paranoid and wary, and there's lots of fighting. So that's the situation here, for better, for worse.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Brian, thanks so much for talking to me today. I really enjoyed it. Your insight into the American market is definitely really helpful for me and hopefully for our listeners as well. Before we go, if anyone does want to know more about the American market, Brian is absolutely the person to fill you in on that. And he has an excellent newsletter at, I think if they just go to 1000watt.com, right? There should be something that pops up saying to subscribe there, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so yes, it's 1000watt.net. So it's 1000watt.net. And you can sign up for the newsletter there. We write every week or two, and you can get more from us. But thank you, Edmund. I enjoyed talking to you.
No, it's great. Of all the many, many newsletters I receive, that's easily the best one. So I'm more than happy to recommend it.